Welcome to The Positivologist is in the house. I'm your host, Lynette Turner. I hope you've got a cup of coffee, a cup of tea, you're settled in your favorite chair, your favorite couch, and I'm so delighted that you have joined me this evening. This is a show that focuses on living your life from a positive perspective. Now, this isn't to say that we don't have challenges and issues, we all do, but each day we have the opportunity when we get up to decide in what way we're going to live our day, what kind of energy we're going to walk through our day with, walk down that path with. And I suggest that we do it from a positive perspective. It's good for us, it makes us much happier, and I think it makes for an overall more exciting world to live in. So I am honored to have an array of guests who come on the show and share their expertise, their talent, their passion with us, and help us walk down that path of positivity. And I'm very excited tonight to have my friend Chris Guerrera on the show, and she is going to be sharing her wisdom as it connects to the divine feminine and the goddess. And I'm so excited about this topic. It's very intriguing, and I'm sure that there's going to be many pearls of wisdom that Chris is going to share with us. And I see her beaming, smiling face. Hi, Chris.
Hi, Lynette. I'm just loving seeing your face.
Well, likewise, and you do look brilliant and radiant like a goddess. So this is absolutely perfect that this is what we're going to talk about tonight. So the first thing I'm going to do before we dive into all these juicy questions is I'm actually going to turn it over to Chris and have her tell us about herself. And don't be shy. You're a wonderful, amazing person. So I want you to impart with our viewers a little bit about Chris, and then we'll dive into this wonderful topic of the divine, the feminine, and the goddess. So, Chris, take it away, and also be sure to tell people, we'll do this again at the end, but tell people how they can reach you in case they'd like to connect with you one-on-one after we have our show tonight.
Thanks, Lynette. So, after you told me I would be able to kind of introduce myself tonight, I thought, well, what would I want to say? What's my degree? What are my credentials to be talking to people tonight? And if I really had to answer that question, and I will tell you some of that, but if I really had to decide what I wanted people to know about me, I would want people to know that I have this huge, curious, open heart that just wants to know everything I can possibly know about love. And so my title I've been referring to myself as lately is a student of love. I'm a student about discovering what love is through the experiences in my life, and I feel that all of the education that I've endeavored has led me to this realization. I'm a therapist. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist. I'm an ordained interfaith minister like yourself, Lynette, and I blend those two together. And formerly in another life, in this life, but in another life, I was a teacher and in the business world as well. And so all of those phases of my life have led me here today, and I am in awe at the greatness of how the divine lays down the steps for us, and we have no idea what kind of magic is in store for us. So
beautiful. So is there a website or some place people can connect with you if they like to after the show, if they want to work?
Absolutely. You can find me at insightswellnesscenter.com, all one long word, insightswellnesscenter.com.
Fantastic. And we'll say that again at the end of the show. You know, I was listening to you when you talk about love and an open heart. It really resonated with me because I have to share with the viewers what an amazing part of my spiritual journey is because of your encouragement. So viewers, I mean, Chris was one of the key people who really encouraged me to follow my heart and my path to go to seminary school. And so I went to One Spirit Learning Alliance. I have to give a plug to the wonderful One Spirit Learning Alliance, where Chris went, and just, you know, you really nurtured me on that journey. Chris is the person who gave me one of the people that gave me my first speaking gig as a minister, which now I'm off and running and you can't shut me up. But it all started from that open heart. And so, Chris, one more thing. I have to tell you that I meditated before the show, which I do before the show, to see if the divine has any messages in regard to that specific topic. And I was guided to pull a goddess card for you. It's one of Doreen Virtue's goddess cards. Oh my gosh, isn't that something? And we have the same deck. And the card they pulled for you, my dear, is Dana, the High Priestess. And the message was so perfect. You have divine knowledge that can help others through your spiritual teaching. How perfect is that? Because what you are, and I get chills, what you have been doing now is really teaching others and teaching others how to be connected to the divine feminine, to the goddess. So, the universe always sends the exact right message at the right time. So I would say that definitely was the case tonight. Amen. So welcome, Goddess Chris.
Thank you. I'll take it.
I think the first question would be for you to let the viewers know how you ended up on this path. There are many paths that you have been on. There's many paths and forks in the road you can take, but clearly you have a deep passion for this, and this is what you're spending a lot of your time focusing on. How did you get from here to there?
Yeah. My mind is kind of blown too, but at the same time, it all makes so much sense. Well, one day after I had been, greatly immersed in my spiritual path and, acting as one of the founders of Ark Sacred Center, I received a lot of emails and, was actively pursuing my spiritual practices and very engaged with my relationship with Source, with the divine. And there was an email that I received one day from one of the visitors to Ark, and she had put out a big e-blast about this book called Red Hot and Holy by Sarah Beek. And I was inundated with emails, and I kind of just let it sit there for months and months and months. But something in me told me not to delete it. Every once in a while I'd go through and do my sweep and clean up my email, and that one, no, I gotta look at that one better. I really didn't even read it, but the title was so intriguing. Wow, you can be red, you can be hot, and you can be holy? Really? So hence the red background here in honor of my start to discovering the sacred feminine. So I read Sarah Beek's book, and it opened me up, and I really encourage people. It challenged me, and it opened me up, and it was about her journey, her personal spiritual journey, discovering Goddess and how Goddess impacted her world. And I just, being a woman who was raised as a Catholic and had very traditional upbringing in the Catholic world, I always felt very connected to God, but felt like something was missing for me, and I didn't quite understand how could I express my spirituality, find a more intimate relationship with God, because there was just that missing piece. And when I read Sarah Beek's book, it opened up a whole new world for me to think and to discover through her memoir, really, that I am a sacred being. I am a goddess. That God Source has a sacred masculine and a sacred feminine quality within every one of us, within our wholeness. So that was my start, and boy, did I get hooked fast, and I've been steadfast in the path of playing with Goddess as often as I possibly can.
Ooh, that sounds like a fun playground.
It is.
So, Chris, for people who are new to this idea of sacred feminine or goddess, and what is that? How do you describe that to people?
Sally Kempton is one of my teachers, and I like the way she describes the sacred masculine and the sacred feminine. And it's not, we human beings, we like to label everything and put everything into a neat little box, don't we?
Oh, yeah.
So she describes the sacred masculine as kind of the constancy, the hum of creation, and kind of the foundation, and that the sacred feminine is the dance of that creation. And I don't know, that sounds so beautifully poetic to me.
Yeah, yeah.
And it sounds like there's such an interdependence between the two. And if we learn how to express both parts of that sacred masculine and feminine within our own beings and teach others to do the same, it brings such richness and space for acceptance and love and joy.
So that would mean that all of us, each and every one of us, have both the sacred feminine and the sacred masculine. How do we know, so we can all say, oh, I'm a goddess. How do we feel that goddessness in us? How do we honor that? How do we bring it out of ourselves and share? I guess we have to start with ourselves and share that with other people. I mean, people might be, does one have, if someone doesn't have the greatest self-esteem, is it harder for them to say, I'm a goddess? I mean, even I say it and I feel a little bit like, ooh, that's kind of bold for me to say I'm a goddess.
You are a goddess. We are all God, goddess, right? That is the oneness. Yeah. And I think that is part of the journey, is as you discover your sacred self, your sacred feminine, and the marriage of the sacred feminine and sacred masculine within you, that self-esteem starts to transform in a very subtle and steady way. Suddenly, those things that used to taunt you, all those little chatters in your mind, start to dissolve, and they don't become important because your connection to the wholeness of being a spirit in this human world becomes so much more real and magical and tangible.
And so as part of that, an acceptance, I mean, it seems like we're always trying to change ourselves or change other people.
Yeah.
Accepting.
Yeah, absolutely. Acceptance. Yeah, I kind of look at, love as the umbrella for all of the other virtues: acceptance, understanding, compassion, forgiveness, and so it's my mission every day to learn about each of those.
And so there's many different goddesses, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and how do people decide, like, so we work with the angels as well, and so I know angels by name, and I feel a certain connection. Right. Is it the same way with the goddess energy? Do we sort of do our intuitive research and our actual research and know what goddesses are out there and what they represent, and then so we can understand that we resonate with certain goddesses? How does one find a goddess?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I will send total props to Doreen Virtue's Goddess Oracle cards. It's a great way to familiarize yourself with the different goddess energies that are available to us. But I will also say that you can spend some time with yourself and take notice of your essence. What are the qualities what are the ingredients that really make you you? And to me, that's the goddess speaking through you. And there's a specific combination, perhaps, of your own personal sparkles and ingredients that goddess uses to speak through you. But I do have I do have periods of time where I feel more called to work with different goddesses. For example, Kuan Yin, she's the goddess of compassion. And, I learned a lot because I would more describe myself as a bold goddess, as a passionate goddess.
I would too.
Yeah. And I'm also a very compassionate goddess. But one thing that I really learned to speak to to speak about people who struggle with self-esteem, one thing I learned and what I really needed to discover from Kuan Yin was compassion for myself. And so as I've been unfolding in this journey, in this discovery of goddess energy, I learned, and I kept picking Kuan Yin's card. I'm like, hey, you're not exciting enough for me.
Isn't that funny when
Where's
that
all the
happens?
color and
There must be another card that's really meant for me. This was a mistake card, but there's never a
right,
mistake, right?
right. Right, but she kept coming. She kept coming, and the idea of compassion kept coming to me. And so finally I got it, and I said, okay, compassion. Clearly I have compassion for others, but how genuine can that compassion be if I can't give it to myself in certain circumstances? So I really, really worked on that, and I actually talk out loud to myself and give my poor compassion all over me anytime there's stress and so Kuan Yin has been such a gift, as well as many of the other goddesses that, are bold and passionate and,
Right.
certainly, yeah.
So we
But
talked
there are
about.
a lot of wonderful, sorry,
No, go ahead. You said there's a lot of wonderful goddesses.
a lot of wonderful practices
Yes, I
that
was just
I
going to ask
find.
you that. Yeah, some
Mm,
tips for the viewers. So what practical tools can people use to make that connection?
right.
And I think men and women, right? So men can also be a part of the journey.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think with this shift in consciousness that's happening, I think, especially with the focus on the sacred feminine rising, in order to balance out and harmonize our planet and the human race, I think it's so very important that we usher each other into wholeness. And so men are as equally important to that ownership of the sacred feminine within, as well as the sacred masculine.
Hmm.
So the practices are, number one, to reprogram your mind to think in a new way about divine, begin to think of yourself as a divine being, and that you are sacred, and that there are very specific qualities to how Goddess expresses through you, and to be aware and look for the little messages, which is what you do with angels, right? To look
Right,
for those
right.
messages and how Mother Nature is speaking to you, or how this moment with your friend is speaking to you. How is Goddess speaking through them? And and so it's looking for the magic, the dance of Goddess.
Oh, I love that because we both like to move. The dance of
And yeah,
goddess. So
yeah.
today when I was leaving my office, it's this time of year and there's these beautiful trees, and so there's these white and pink petals that are just everywhere. I don't know if they're where your house is, but I was walking to my car and I was thinking of the goddess energy. And actually, I don't know if you can see them on the air, but I picked these beautiful pink and white
Oh,
petals because they seemed like goddess dust to me.
oh,
And I thought
I
this
love
is just
that.
like such a wonderful energy to, and so you're right,
Yeah,
you can just see it everywhere, right? You can feel it everywhere. What kind
yeah.
of tips, what might we give viewers who, so, we can say, let yourself connect to the feeling of the divine, the energy of the divine. What if they're in an environment that doesn't really support that? What if they're
Mm,
getting up every day and they might be going to a job that they don't like, or they might be in a relationship that's really hard? And so we say, connect with the gods, connect with the divine, but it might be hard for them to do that.
mm,
Are there any
mhm.
tips you can give people to let themselves honor the divine that truly is within them, even if they feel like they're in an energy that's not being supportive of that effort? Because we
Yeah.
still owe it to ourselves, right? We're still worthy of it. We still deserve it.
Yes, absolutely. And that is difficult. And so many people are in that situation. And so what I like to call it the power of the pause. you know, Power of the pause. Take a pause. We need to be important enough to matter to ourselves, to give ourselves that kind of
Yeah,
nourishment. And
yeah.
the only way you're going to be able to know that you even need the nourishment, because we're so overstimulated, is by pausing. And once I pause, I tap into my senses. And I have recently, because of my goddess studies, I have recently discovered that my senses are the highways to feeling God goddess. So when I tap in and I really look around, when I really look at your beauty and I take you in and I can feel the reverence for your beauty and who you are, and when I listen to the songs of the birds, or when I listen to the conversation that's going on in the cubicle next to me and there's laughter, it brings me back to why I'm here, to be that student of love.
You know, it sounds like a lot of connecting with the goddess energy also has a lot to do with, as we've talked about before, being present and in the moment.
Yes.
Being right here instead of our mind,
Yes.
because we have that whole, you know, the Buddhist monkey mind, monkey mind, monkey mind. It's going, 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 going. We're rushing, we're rushing. We're not just being. And if we stop and be, just feel our presence, and then we can feel that inner love, that inner beauty. And like you said, it's all about love at the end of the day, right? We can live in the energy of love, we can live in the energy of fear, and we pick love. We pick love. So, Chris, why do you think, two things, why do you think that, on one hand, it seems like maybe our culture has been kind of slow to pick up to the goddess energy, but on the other hand, there are pockets of the culture that are like really getting it big time. Now, why are we a little bit slow in this? This is an amazing energy. It's an amazing way to live. It's an amazing way to be. Just imagine if you were walking around and everyone you encountered just said, "Hi, goddess. Hi, goddess. Hi, goddess." And, you know, and we all embraced it. I mean, I take it. Some places, if we walked and do that today, people would look at us like we're a little crazy. Which is, I'm used to that. So it's really okay with me. But you know, is it because we've got so much else going on? Is it because, you know, there's you turn on the TV and there's just always a tragedy. Every newscast says breaking news. Every day it's breaking news, and it's always some horrible thing. If there's anything good, they put it at the very end for like 2 seconds. You know, it might partially be because the energy. I don't know. What do you think in terms of why we're sometimes a little slow to catch up to this sort of way of thinking and being and living?
Yeah, you know, our culture is certainly like a train that almost feels like it can't be stopped, right?
Yeah.
But what I see, and I'm so grateful to be able to witness because I work with so many people, I see the paradigm shifting, and I see people, you know, putting down their foot and saying, I can't live like this anymore. I have to change my thinking. I have to change my beliefs. This is not healthy for me. So it really is happening one person at a time. And so for us, it may feel like it's taking a while, but especially for those of us who are in the healing arts and in the wellness world and in the spiritual world, we're probably seeing it much easier than people in the mainstream are seeing it. But it is happening. In fact, I'm hearing a lot of the shifting also happening in the business world, and corporations having more conversations about how to honor a human being, how to honor their employees, how to give space for their spirits, you know, and to share that in the community of being, you know, working together. So it is happening, and for those who are really in an environment that, you know, they find it very challenging, you know, I like I said, my senses are so important to me. I dress myself, I decorate around me so that I can be constantly reminded of the truth and constantly be able to have sensual input so that I can be put back on my path. And because I've done that, I'm much quicker to return to center than I used to be.
Right.
So it's a practice, you know. The more I practice, the more the shift happens more easily for me.
I think you said something a little while ago. We're talking about also what's in our minds, right? What we think and what we say. I mean, I'm always amazed at that the things that come out of people's mouths. And like, don't you know what you put out is what the universe is going to bring back to you? So, you know, don't put out the negative and the bad and always the worst case scenario. You know, put out the good, even if you don't believe it. Even if someone has a hard time saying, I am a goddess, you know, you say it enough, then you're going to start to feel it, and you're going to start to believe it, and you're going to start to live it. And it's just,
Mhm.
and that you're right, one person at a time can literally shift the entire vibration of this planet and all
Mhm.
the people on it. So I'm
Mhm.
curious because you have two young boys. Well, one's
Yeah.
getting up there. He just turned 11, right?
Yes, he did.
How is this energy? How is this life that you're
Mhm.
living affecting I can only imagine it's going to be just wonderfully fantastic the way it's going to affect these young men as they go up into the world. But how do they think about, what do they think about you, walking around with your bad goddess self?
Yeah, that is the greatest question. They think I'm a big weirdo. And you know what? I think it's precious, but so they're typical kids. Anytime, their mom tries to talk to them about God, goddess, or they say, "Oh, mom." But
Hmm.
then there's those little sweet moments that suddenly one will ask me a question about God or about a past life. My son the other day, rainbows have been coming into my rainbow wisdom, I've been calling it, has been coming into my life a lot lately, which is so interesting. I've always appreciated a rainbow.
Hmm.
I think they're beautiful. I think they are divine. I think they're meant to inspire us, but I never really okay,
Right.
what's the wisdom here? And so I kept getting rainbow, rainbow everywhere. And then my youngest son, we're driving in the car, just he and I, and he goes, "Mom, did you know that God is a rainbow?" Uh, and he was like the exclamation mark to all my rainbow interactions that week. And I was like, "Oh, really? God's a rainbow, huh? Oh, tell me about that." So
Yeah.
there's and that's what I love about Goddess and discovering the sacred. Sometimes it's the divine is in your face and kind of throws a brick to get your attention, and sometimes it's just these sweet, subtle, magical moments.
Hmm.
And if we're awake, if we do the work to be awake, to see the magic, to recognize it, to know that our lives are magical, then the magic magnifies. It's
Right.
just
Right.
incredible. And I know you
Right.
know this.
Yes, because when you acknowledge it and you see it, it just comes back to you twofold,
Oh,
threefold, right? Which is,
yeah.
incredible thing to do. And sometimes, yes, it can be challenging because of what's going on all around you. But if we
Yeah.
take these magical moments, these goddess moments, and even in the midst of some craziness, you're stuck on I-95, you're not going anywhere. What if you just stopped and
Mhm.
sat with your goddess self and said, "This is a gift."
Mm.
I'm supposed to have this
Yeah.
moment of peace and quiet instead of the hecticness. I think that'd be an amazing thing if
Yeah.
more people do it. And I think more and more people are doing it. So, Chris, it seems like a lot of spiritual leaders and spiritual writings are talking about this new age of consciousness that is among us. How does the divine feminine, how's the goddess energy fit into this new age of consciousness? Is the goddess energy helping it to move along? What's that sort of connection?
Mm. Well, the goddess, the rising goddess is all, and the returning of goddess really is about the divine union. And so consciousness is raised when we have a harmony within ourselves, and we can find that harmony by developing the sacred masculine parts of ourselves. Some of us are already have a good solid foundation in that. That's like developing the grounding practices, the raising your consciousness through meditation, things like that. Goddess, developing the sacred feminine is more the dynamicism of your divine self, living the arts, expressing your divinity.
Hmm.
So it's the marriage between that, learning how to be grounded and learning how to be expressive in the experience of the divine. And so when we practice those two together, the sky is is
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. Part of me is like, "Ooh, that's easy. I can do that." Part of me is like, "Ooh, that sounds that sounds kind of hard." But for
right,
me, in one thing, if I overthink it, then it seems hard. If I don't overthink it, I just
right,
do it and be it and live it, then it's not
yeah,
so difficult. And then if I don't like pre-decide what that has to be or look like, that makes sense.
right,
You know,
right,
just
yeah.
kind of ride the
And
wave.
yeah, yeah, and I appreciate you saying that. And I do want to, I feel called to talk about pain. Um, because you talked about challenging moments,
Yeah.
and of course we all have challenging moments, but I would like to talk about that real deep, wrenching pain that we all experience in this world. And because I'm so aware that I'm kind of floating on this high vibration right now, and I can understand that if somebody's not there and they're listening to this, it might feel not possible for them
Right.
because
Right.
they might be in touch with some pain.
Right.
And I want to tell you that my life is not pain free. I experience pain, and part of being connected to the divine is allowing the pain and not judging it. Not judging it, having to slap a label on it as that I'm broken or I'm depressed or I'm
Right.
whatever I
Or
am.
not or
I'm
not pretending that you don't have it because we do all have it. Yeah.
right, right. And I just feel that it's so important to exercise the allowing of that experience, to feel the pain, to express the pain, to allow yourself to find the healthy comfort for that pain and the healing of that pain. And while doing that, developing a relationship with your higher self, your goddess, God self, to be able to kind of swoop in and hold you while
Yes.
you're in that
Yeah.
experience. And that was huge for me. That was huge for me, and it has helped me learn how to feel my feelings in a more full and rich way. So I'm having a fuller human experience, which is teaching me a lot about love. And I'm also developing a higher vibration and relationship with the divine at the
Hmm.
same time.
Hmm. You're busy doing all that.
No one's
Good.
busier
Good.
than you.
I try to think about my life at all at once, or it gets a little bit too overwhelming. But yeah, we're both pretty busy. So, curious, are there like particular goddesses that you call on, or that people might call on? You talked about compassion, but do you have a particular goddess that you're like your buddy goddess? Do you have different ones for different areas of your life? How would you, if someone's out there and going, oh my gosh, this is so incredible, this is so amazing, where exactly do I start? If I could just find, a particular goddess to help me start on this journey, how
Mm.
might they do that? And then the second part of that question is if you have some particular books or resources that you might recommend for people. And of course, they should also reach out to you because you can work with them as well.
Mm-hmm.
What journey would you take on? But first, where do I find my goddess?
Mm-hmm. Well, she's everywhere, and as I said, that Doreen Virtue's cards are wonderful.
Yeah.
I also, and within Doreen Virtue's card or Goddess Oracle cards, there are some of the Hindu goddesses. I really have enjoyed studying the Hindu goddesses through Sally Kempton, and particularly the goddess Kali has she's quite a fierce goddess, and sometimes very frightening to look at. I know some of the women that I've been working with in my goddess circle, have been pretty turned off by the image of goddess Kali because she's fierce.
Chris,
She is fierce.
can you spell that for people in case they want to look her up?
Kali.
Okay.
Kali.
Okay.
And she is the goddess of beginnings and endings. But she's also very misunderstood because she's kind of like the tsunami that will come in and wipe it all clean. She's like the fire that will burn it all away. And if we're not getting that something is supposed to end, Kali will come in and help you end it.
Okay.
um,
Ready, ready,
so
ready
yeah,
or
so
not, here I come type of thing, right?
yeah, she will start talking to you. And though I will say she is misunderstood because she has the fierceness, she has the power, she has that level of love to help you clean away something, even though she knows it's going to cause you pain. That's how much love she has because she knows this needs to happen. So
But it's for
she
our highest good. It's for the best, even if it's sort
right,
of
exactly.
difficult and
Right.
painful as she's making herself known to us.
Right, right. So just like any mother, yes, we have to get that needle. Yes, you have to go through this, but I can be here to hold you in that transition. And
Hmm.
she helps us to rebirth ourselves when it's time to end something. She's also there to help us midwife us into the new transformation of our life, whether it's ending a job, a relationship. If you call on Kali and you say Om Kali Ma, Om Kali Ma, you're
Om
calling
Kali
on
Ma, Om Kali Ma,
Om Kali
Kali
Ma.
Ma.
You're calling on her, the nurturing Kali, to come in and comfort you into the new phase of your life, the new relationship, the new job, the new home, the
Hmm.
move, whatever it may be. Call on her. I have some clients that, chant her name in the shower and, and if you really, when you're speaking a chant, if you're chanting a goddess and you're saying Om Kalima, the idea is to feel the vibration of the words coming through your body, because
Mm.
it is that vibration and that resonance that she feels and hears.
Right.
And that helps to transmute our molecular structure to vibrate with her and invite her
So,
energy into our
so I
lives.
think it's just something very important for the viewers to get a sense of. So, you have this chant, and so she sees and feels that. So we need to imagine embodying this goddess as if she is a real thing like us. You know what I mean? Versus some distant, can't really
Right,
touch it. It's a statue up on the table, but really a part of our energy field, a part of us.
right. Yes, yes, yes.
Oh,
Yes, she is a
I like
presence in
that.
your life, and I invite you to talk to her like she's your buddy hanging out with you everywhere you go.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there are certain goddesses, when working with them, I will feel them position themselves differently around me. You
Mm-hmm.
may experience that with your angels, and I work with some of the angels too. And so Kali has always got my back. She's always behind me. And so wherever I feel the energy of Kali, even if it's a subtle feeling and I feel like, is that all in my head? Or is that Kali? And I just choose to believe. And when you choose to believe, that's when the magic happens. What if I just believed? And
Yeah, yeah.
and I have to tell everybody that I was one of the biggest cynics when it came to this kind of spirituality. So, just
Really?
I
Yeah.
was I was fearful, or thought it
Mm.
would make me weirder, or you know, but now that I'm here, I'm rolling around in it and happy, joy. But yeah, so another wonderful practice to work with Goddess is breathing exercises. And actually, there's a wonderful yoga called Kundalini, and it's all about learning how to raise the Shakti energy. And Shakti means goddess. It's the
Yeah.
goddess awakening. And it's a very real experience. It is what
Very,
Sally
very
Kempton,
powerful. Yeah.
very powerful, and it's what Sally Kempton, is just expertly teaches, is the about the Kundalini energy, and also all of the Hindu goddesses that
Mhm.
she works with. So I definitely encourage you to look her up because she does an amazing job at teaching the specific goddesses if you're called to go in that kind of direction with your studies, or just awakening your body to the goddess with the Shakti energy through the yoga practice.
The goddesses seem to have, all these various personalities, different personalities, just like we do here on the human plane. So I take it, if we have specific areas of our life that we want to work on or lighten up or brighten up, then we would seek out that particular goddess and that particular goddess energy to be able to call on it as needed.
And it's so interesting because when people first start to learn about goddesses and all the different ones with all the different personalities, and you meet one, you may meet one, you may start to read about one and learn about one, and she may start speaking to you in some way or another, and you might think, hey, she's not really, I just don't resonate with her. But what I always like to challenge myself with all things, with all human beings, with all goddesses, with all angels, with all experiences, is to go to the oneness of all of us, to remind myself that she is me. And if I don't resonate with her, it's because I don't know that part of myself well. I don't own that part of myself. And she has something to offer me. So whether that's a human being or a goddess or an angel, I want to be that student of love, and I want to love every part of myself and everything that comes into the world around me. So I want to know about those energies that I don't seem to have anything in common with, because the truth is I do. I have everything in common.
Right. Well, you talk about that wholeness. We have bits and pieces of all of this wonderfulness within us. And what a beautiful thing it would be if on a regular basis we connected to those who are in our lives and told them, I see the goddess in you. That is so, because when I say the word goddess, it gives me chills because it just seems so reverent, so incredible, and so magnificent and beautiful. And, to take the time to tell someone that you really see them and you see the good in them and you see the goddess in them, I think that would really, raise their vibration, make them feel happy, help them feel loved. I mean, it's a win-win, right? It's all good.
It absolutely is. And it's a way to find balance within our beings, the mind, the body, and the spirit. And, I feel like I'm being told to talk about the body a little bit because in working with my clients and working with myself, it is so very important to learn how to express ourselves in our body, learn how to be in our bodies. How about that? Because many of us don't even know how to be and feel the full experience of really being planted in this body in order to really honor it. And that was something I definitely have needed to work on and continue to work on. And as I wake up to the greatness of being in this vessel, in this little composition of divinity, I just realize what a gift and how sacred the human body is, and how magical it really is, and to have a more intimate relationship with it means to know our divinity and to know Goddess within this body. That this is a house for God, Goddess.
So, Chris, what are people doing? You say sometimes people aren't even being aware of being in their body. What are people doing to not be in their body or not be connected to their body?
Well, I work with a lot of addiction, and so whether we're trying to avoid our heart, our emotions, or we're trying to avoid being in our body because of some kind of trauma we've experienced, people are just not feeling. They're not honoring. They're not feeling. They're using substances and behaviors to numb out, which quiets the connection between self and the divine.
Right.
So sometimes I will literally, just encourage my clients to just start shaking it out, shaking out the hands, waking up the body, to create a new energy and connection to the body. That because some of us get stuck in this contraction of stiffness, that
Right.
prevents the flow of goddess energy from being. As you can see, I'm very expressive in the body. If I could, I'd get up and do a dance for you too. But
Hey, you go right ahead if you want to.
it's all about
I'll deal
feeling
with you.
it.
Everybody out there, TV land, shake it up. Oh my gosh, I love it. The connection. I mean, that feels like just like many of us take time for meditation. I just have this image of it's goddess time. I'm going to take a few minutes and I'm going to connect to that goddess energy and I'm connect to that particular goddess that I'm talking with. And I think too, what an amazing world when we talk about the male and the feminine and the connection, to also have these communities of men who honor the goddessness in women, in female women, and what a amazing world that would be, because there are many wonderful, incredible men out there, and then there are many, both men and women, who we have a lot to learn. There are things we can do and ways we can live that will make us more in connection with spirit and with each other. So I'm just imagining this a wonderful world. Thinking of that song, "It's a Wonderful World," right? If we were all able to do that more vividly, more regularly, with more passion, with more power, with more practice. So, Chris, talk a moment about, you've mentioned this a few times, so I'm sure you have some interested viewers, that your goddess circle. What's that? What's a goddess circle? It sounds
that's a very dynamic experience. You think it's going to be one thing, and
well, I mean, I guess I experienced it because I did come to one of your
yeah, you came to one of the retreats.
A special one, retreat, but I know you have a regular ongoing circle, I believe now.
Right. Actually, we just ended a session, but it's a group of women that meet once a month, and we practice. We study goddess. We have studied particular goddess energies, but we also learn how to be in our goddess self and in relationship with each other. So it's a different kind of gathering in that we encourage each other to be vulnerable, in that we're honest and we share from our hearts and our spirits, and that there's no makeup or anything required of us. We don't need to show up a certain way. We don't need to bake a 4-layer cake. We don't need to wear the gorgeous top.
Just come as you
are.
Just
show up. We just show up, and we practice feeling our divine self. So we'll pray. We may listen to music. We'll meditate. The other night we had a bonfire, and we sat outside and connected to Mother Nature, and we walked the labyrinth together. And then from the labyrinth we went inside and we shared what we experienced on the labyrinth. What was the wisdom that you gained while you were on your meditation? And then we closed the night with just appreciating each other, sharing with each other what we each taught, what we each learned from the others. And gosh, I just love that. I feel that is why we are here, to have those kinds of experiences, in addition to so many other beautiful experiences. But that is just so vitally important, that human beings have those opportunities to authentically connect hearts like that.
So, Chris, to what degree do you think, and I think it probably would be important for people to really connect and trust their instinct, that gut instinct? Because just like we were talking about the angels, when I work with people with the angels, sometimes they're like, I thought I felt the energy of the angel. I thought I saw her sitting on the bed, but our mind kind of gets in the way, and I'm like, yeah, we have these instincts. Trust these instincts. I would think that might be needed and encouraged, so that when that goddess comes and she's talking to you, you're not pushing her away, saying, oh no, that must be me making it up. If you sense it and feel it, it's true. Can you talk a bit about that, or if that was part of maybe that was part of your journey, because you said it in the beginning, you were kind of like, I don't know about this. And now you're fully like flying full speed ahead. What kind of a role did that play for you, and might that, advice you might give for other people in terms of trusting that connection?
Right. So I really have just practiced the what if, taking the position of what if what I'm feeling, hearing, sensing is true. What is the message here for me? Just what if? And that kind of relaxes all of the parts of me that want to say, and so those parts are like, okay, well, she's not totally buying into it, so I can relax. And then the what if really has a chance to take hold, and I get to see wider and larger what is happening. And then the what if is not as necessary anymore, because you're like, the messages become more and more clear, and your eyesight from your third eye and your sixth senses are just growing, because you're opening. You're just open. You don't have to commit to anything. You go into the study of goddess work or angel work or God work with just a curious attitude. Like, what if this is a path that could feed my heart? What's wrong with that?
Yeah.
What if?
Yeah.
I recently, as a part of my path with Goddess, I've recently gotten into studying flowers. I never thought I would study flowers. I used to kill plants. Now I'm like, I can't get enough plants in my house. And now when I go to my plants, I'm like talking to my plants, and I'm like, what if I just appreciated them and appreciated the energy that they brought into my home and into my life, and the kind of healing essences that they put off, and I'm creating tinctures for them. And so Goddess, being open-hearted and being just a curious student of love, leads you to so many magical places. And it does require courage, because sometimes we like to stay the same, right? We're venturing into land.
It's easier, and change can be hard for people and a little difficult, but I think it's probably really worth the journey. But don't you find when you're really in that energy of love, or in the goddess energy, or in the angel energy, I literally feel like I'm on such a high vibration that I'm like floating up off of the ground. But I'm like, I gotta stay grounded. Got to get my car and drive. Got to have this conversation. But when you're in that space, it just feels so divine and so right, and so how we're supposed to be, because we're in that love vibration. We can problem solve more easily. We're kinder, and we put that energy out, and we get that energy back. So, there's nothing but good connected to the goddess energy, from what I can tell, my dear. Ah, fantastic. Well, let's see. Our time is winding down. If you were going to have, do you have your goddess cards near you or with you?
I do. They're right here.
Well, Chris, what if you used your energy and you pulled a card for the viewers?
Well, I actually did. That's why I giggled.
Oh.
and I think it's so apropos for what, our conversation and how we're kind of ending the conversation, because I chose Freya. Let me see if, you might not be able to see that because of the glare.
I think maybe we will. If you keep it still for a second, we'll put, we can see it.
Oh, you can?
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah. Wow. Ooh.
Yes.
Cool.
Yes, she's a powerful, powerful goddess. She's bold, and I'm going to read to you about her, okay?
Okay.
Unleash your adventurous side. Take risks and be daring. Don't play it safe right now. Instead, take a bold action in the direction of your true heart's desire. Success comes not from being timid, but from committing yourself fully to realizing your dream. Hold the clear intention of success, and it shall come about. Enjoy the excitement of taking risks, of being bold and of being daring. And be sure to celebrate your success with a party or by splurging on a wonderful indulgence.
Ooh.
Yes, she is the Nordic earth goddess of fertility, celebration, and passion. Freya rides in a chariot pulled by mighty cats across the Rainbow Bridge, connecting heaven and earth. She is unafraid of her sexual power. Freya teaches us to appreciate our attractiveness and to enjoy ourselves. No wonder, then, that the day of the week, Friday, was named in her honor, since this day is associated with the end of the work week and a time for celebration.
I love that. And a
Yes.
time for celebration with the goddess and the goddesses and goddess Chris. Chris, thank you so much for spending the time with me tonight and with the viewers. I learned a lot. I'm sure they learned a lot. Tell us one more time your website so they can connect with you if they'd like to.
Sure, it's insightswellnesscenter.com.
Fantastic. All my
I
love to
just want to
you.
thank you, Lynette. Thank
You're
you
more
so
than.
much. I love talking with you. I love it.
It
We
was
need
fantastic.
more.
We do need more. We do need more. So thank you
Yeah.
so much, my dear. And I
All
thank
right.
all of you out there for, once again, joining me here on The Positivologist is in the house. You can connect with me on my website, www.positivebliss.com. Remember, it's all about bliss, BLISS. Believe life is something special because it is, and so are you. We'll see you again next time right here on The Positivologist is on the house. Namaste and many blessings.
Bye.